Alright, so continuing my January 2018 plan of talking about movies that are getting continuations this year, there is in fact another Cloverfield movie coming out this year. I think it was called God Particle at one point. I don't know if it's still called that. I think they got rid of that title. But it's currently slated to come out on April 20th. I don't know, they might change it again. I talked about 10 Cloverfield Lane when it came out. It was my favorite movie of 2016. So I figured today of all days would be the perfect day to talk about the original Cloverfield. Why? Because today is its 10-year anniversary. Cloverfield. So Cloverfield came out 10 years ago to this day, 1/18/08. It's a found footage movie produced by J.J. Abrams and directed by Matt Reeves, who would later go on to direct Dawn of and War for the Planet of the Apes. And you know who J.J. Abrams is, right? I shouldn't have to tell you what he's done. Anyways, it's a found footage movie of a savage attack on New York from, you don't really know what at first. If I'm going to explain the premise of this movie, I'm going to have to let some things go. There will probably be some spoilers involved, but if you haven't seen this movie, it's been 10 years. Freaking watch it. So it revolves around this group of people who are in their late 20s. And it starts out they're just throwing a going away party for a guy who's about to get this big job in Japan. So they're just hanging out at this party. There's some drama going on with a romance that's in there. And I gotta stress this. The beginning of this movie, like the first 10 minutes I'll say, is actually pretty bad. It's actually like terrible. Or at least in my opinion, but that's part of the charm of this movie. Because when it starts out, there's no sign of an attack or anything. You're just following these people around like it's a sitcom or something. The dialogue's kind of corny, I'll admit. Some of it's kind of funny. But what's great about it is that you're just waiting for this shit to hit the fan. Because when the shitstorm hits right in the middle of this party, it's like BAM! You just hear this explosion off in the distance, the power goes out, and suddenly everybody goes into panic mode. And you really do feel that. This movie uses the found footage angle to such great effect. Because you really do feel like you are there with all these people. So when they start panicking and they all feel uncertain, you feel uncertain as well as to what's going on here. So when they finally get outside, you see what is attacking the city. It's this giant monster, and you only see it briefly. That's another thing I love. This movie's all about the tease. Because it's found footage, the guy holding the camera is very hectic. It's a panicky mood, so he's shaking around all over the place, so you only see the monster for like a fraction of a second. You'll see these things like arm moving past a building. Sometimes you'll see its full-on head. And when you do get a good glimpse at this thing, you're like, whoa! And now you got this monster horror movie in which these people are just trying to survive. And it's intense as all hell. See, this movie's more of a thrill ride than anything else. It's all about the thrill, it's all about the tone, it's all about the uncertainty. It's not really about the characters. I mean, you like the characters, or at least you tolerate them, but if one of these characters should die, and a couple of them do, you don't find yourself weeping, you know? You're not like, oh, I'm gonna miss that character. That character was such a deep character. No. That being said, the acting is really good. They really do sell the emotion of like when their friend dies, they get really sad, they cry, they panic. It's realistic is the word I'm going for. This is probably the most realistic monster movie ever. And when I was watching this movie getting ready for 10 Cloverfield Lane, I was like, oh, there are a couple of familiar faces in here. You got TJ Miller, he's the best friend of the main character, and he's usually the one filming all this shit. He's the one holding the camera. And of course, him being TJ Miller, he does provide some comic relief. In a really dick way, too. He can't sense the tone of a situation for shit. Because like something really tragic will happen, and then he'll blurt out something that you're all thinking, but we're not gonna say because we know that it would be totally inappropriate to say it in that moment. And he'll just come right out and say it anyways. And it's pretty funny, I laugh. You also have Lizzy Collins, TJ Miller's character kind of has a crush on her. I actually recognized her from that Item 47 Marvel short. Her character gets bitten by one of these parasite monsters. See, the big monster has these little parasite things coming off of it, and they're scary as all hell. There's a scene in this movie where they're in this underground train tunnel. It's pitch black in there, you don't know what's going on, and then you turn on the night vision in the camera, and all of a sudden you see these parasite things, they're on the ceiling, they come down and they start attacking these guys. It's scary, it's intense. And again, that's what this movie is all about. I'm pretty sure when this movie was being made, the filmmakers weren't trying to go for a franchise. In fact, when 10 Cloverfield Lane was being made, it originally wasn't going to be a Cloverfield movie. J.J. Abrams walked in on the project, he was like, alright, let's tie this to Cloverfield. So that's how that happened. Guys, in the end, Cloverfield is a super intense thrill ride. It's not even that long. It's like an hour and a half long. Not even. And since it is a found footage movie, there's no score. Actually, there is one piece of music that J.J. Abrams just had to hire Michael Giacchino to write. It plays during the end credits, and I don't know, this is just my opinion, but it's kind of overdramatic. I would say it kind of fits in the vibe of the movie, but the vibe of the movie is found footage, which means no music. So hearing this really dramatic bum 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 music with this opera singer, just kind of feels out of place to me. Might as well just have the credits be silent, or have that radio static in the background. That would have been more effective. But yeah, Cloverfield is super awesome. The visual effects are really good for 2008. You love the atmosphere and the tone. Again, you either like or tolerate the characters. Some of the writing can be pretty bad, but that is part of the charm. As for the upcoming, as of yet untitled Cloverfield movie that might still be called God Particle, I'm just looking forward to it because it's another Cloverfield movie. That's enough to get me pumped. So Cloverfield, have you seen it? Have you watched it recently? What did you think about it? And which one do you like more, Cloverfield or 10 Cloverfield Lane? If it's a tie for you, I get it. It is for me. But whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.